Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Cody Proctor. Let's get started tonight. This evening, we begin with an update to a story that we have been covering extensively over the last 24 hours. The third suspect in a shooting in Keller last night was arrested just hours ago. 2 people were killed and a Colville tribal police officer was injured. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk traveled to Keller today, and he brings us more now on what we've learned about this developing situation.
People in Elmer City and the surrounding towns can sleep a little easier tonight knowing the third murder suspect has been captured. Colville tribal officers, along with the FBI, taking Curry Pinkham into custody in Elmer City just around 6 p.m. tonight. That's about 24 hours after this deadly shooting. The small town of Nespelem has been on edge. Last night, people were told to stay in their homes because of an active shooter threat. That deadly shooting happened in Keller, a town about 35 minutes away where schools were closed today. Tribal police responded to a home there and found 2 people shot to death. A tribal officer headed to the scene spotted the car the suspects were in. They shot at the officer. They shot him in the arm and chest. He was airlifted to a Seattle hospital and we're told he is doing well. Back in Nespelem, we spoke to one woman who was told that the 2 men arrested earlier were near the back of her property.
Oh, this is usually a very quiet place. You know, I work down at the school, so I know all the little kids around here, and it's very quiet. And lately, it's just gone nuts.
Tribal police also arrested Zachary Holt and another man who has not been named. Police have not said what led up to the shooting or identified the victims involved. Reporting from Elmer City tonight, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Kyle, thank you so much. And the chairman of the Colville tribe shared a statement following the third suspect's arrest, saying, quote, "Details of this tragic event are still being assembled as law enforcement investigates." He also went on to say in that same statement, quote, "It is safe for people to return to their normal activities." Now, this is a developing story, and we'll continue to bring you the latest as we learn more about the situation. New tonight, research out of Oregon State University could create a universal means of treating COVID-19 while also fighting other illnesses. The new research is twofold. First, it blocks multiple COVID variants with the decoy enzyme. Second, they develop a new delivery method, a more user-friendly nasal spray. According to research, the results are promising.
Pretty rapid. As soon as someone has COVID, within 2 hours, the protein will start forming and start doing its job and hopefully, start making people feeling better.
Researchers say they're a ways away from treatment being available for humans, but the initial testing has been performed on animal models. Developing tonight, a federal appeals court placed a temporary hold on President Joe Biden's student debt relief program. The 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals issued the order in a case brought by 6 Republican-led states. It prohibits the White House from canceling loans covered under the new forgiveness policy as the appeals court considers the GOP states' challenge to it. The states are arguing the Biden administration does not have the legal authority to grant broad student loan forgiveness. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll be taking a look at what this could mean for borrowers. New regulations prohibiting the sale, purchase, or transfer of handguns within Canada went into effect today. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the handgun freeze is Canada's strongest gun control measure in 40 years. The new rules also block handguns from being imported from other countries.
When people are being killed, when people are being hurt, responsible leadership requires us to act. Recently, again, we've seen too many examples of horrific tragedies involving firearms.
Canada's gun homicide rate is a fraction of what it is in the United States, but it has been on the rise. Well, it's hard to believe just days ago we were seeing temperatures that were coming up into the 70s because today we saw our first flurries of snow. Take a look at this. This was at our transmitter site earlier today. Now this isn't even in the mountains, but right here in south Spokane. And across the region, ski resorts and passes also saw their first flakes. You can see both Snoqualmie and Sherman Pass right there. Even the base of Schweitzer Mountain saw snowflakes today. Now, even though winter is coming, it is inevitable. Many of us saw the rain instead of the snow today. We've got meteorologist Michelle Bosch joining us now in the Weather Center tonight. Fall is definitely here, Michelle.
Yes, and the rain that we received in the lower elevations was some much needed rain. So it was kind of a shock to the system considering what we've had over the last week. But we got some pretty good rain totals across the area. Spokane Airport picked up 3/500ths, nearly 4/10 in Sandpoint, about a quarter of an inch at both Lewiston and Deer Park. And Coeur d'Alene picked up half an inch of rain. We may still see some more rain before the weekend is over, but another positive impact of this current weather system, it really pushed out that smoke and it's really going to dampen fire season. Our air quality is back into the good category. It is chilly out there, though. Temperatures were actually in the upper 30s earlier this afternoon, so that was during the day. We're sitting at 40 right now in Spokane, but upper 30s in Deer Park and Sandpoint, mid-40s in Moses Lake, 44 in Lewiston. Of course, it's going to get even chillier overnight. Satellite and radar showing most of the precipitation right now south of I-90, and I think the heavier rain showers of the next 24 hours will likely be in those locations, but we could still see a few more showers before the weekend is over. Cloudy skies overnight, a few showers possible, and a few showers possible for tomorrow afternoon as well, but we should get some drier weather on Sunday. It'll still be chilly, but look for partly cloudy skies, kind of a frosty start, and high on Sunday around 50.
Michelle, thank you so much. Let's move on now to Night Beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. Washington State University announced today they're removing the COVID-19 vaccine mandate for employers, contractors, and volunteers. While the administrators say this won't be a dramatic change, some students have mixed feelings.
This is not going to be really a big deal. You know, like I said, I think it's just one piece of documentation, one less piece of documentation a new employee has to provide before they get hired.
For students are required to actually take the vaccines, I think it's pretty unfair. You should have an option, especially if you're giving faculty and staff an option, because WSU is paying them, but we're paying WSU.
The university says the reason they haven't lifted the mandate for students yet is because there are over 4,000 students living in close quarters with each other. Well, construction is currently underway for the Concourse C expansion project at the Spokane International Airport. This is the first phase of the terminal renovation and expansion program. Frequent flyers say long lines and wait times have become commonplace, and an expansion is more than welcome.
The lines are getting a little bit longer. There's more people moving into the area. So I think that this expansion is well needed, a little bit overdue.
A $150 million expansion will add 3 new gates, replace current ground boarding gates with 3 passenger loading bridges, modernize existing gates, and add 6 ticket counter locations for airlines to use. It's expected to be done in 2025. Washington Governor Jay Inslee announced plans to introduce a constitutional amendment protecting access to abortion in the state.
It is the place where we show immutable commitment to our fundamental rights. And the right of a woman to exercise her private right of this most intimate decision is a fundamental right that needs to be protected in the state of Washington Constitution.
The amendments would need to be approved by a 2/3 majority of lawmakers along with voter approval. Inslee says the bills are still being written. And that was your Night Beat. Text the word night to 509-448-2000 to learn more about any of these stories. We'll send them right to your phone. Well, KREM 2 News is committed to bringing you in-depth election coverage, and we're just a day away from 2 key debates in this general election. This Sunday, we'll be carrying the U.S. Senate debate between incumbent Senator Patty Murray and challenger Tiffany Smiley live on KREM 2, KREM.com, and KREM 2+. That debate's happening on Gonzaga University's campus right here in Spokane, starting at 5 p.m. Earlier in the day, Secretary of State candidates Stephen Hobbs and Julie Anderson will also debate at GU. We'll stream that debate exclusively on KREM.com and KREM 2+ starting at 3:30 in the afternoon. You can also download KREM 2+ right now on Amazon Fire and Roku. And if you want step-by-step instructions on how to get KREM 2+ on your TV, text the word KREM 2 to 509-448-2000. We'll send that link right to your phone. And that was KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. There's a new basketball team that's coming to Seattle, and they're looking for some new players. We'll tell you more about them coming up. Plus, an official subpoena today means former President Trump could be taking the stand. I'll be back in about 90 seconds.